Hello everyone. So we are here with the second episode of the series which we have started with the 2022 aspirants. Today we have got Shivani here. Shivani, congratulations, Shivani. First of all,
Thank
Shivani
you
has
so much,
secured
sir.
all. Shivani has secured all India rank 300 in her second attempt, and she'll be most probably joining IS Indian Administrative Service. So welcome, Shivani.
Thank you so much, sir.
So Shivani, again, let me start with this. I remember like it was 1 year ago, I think 14th of May we talked, and here we are 1 year after that. What was your first reaction after seeing your name in that list?
So the first reaction was obviously a sense of relief because I remember I was preparing for prelims even a night before that, and I was very scared because prelims were just 5 days away, and amidst all the result speculation, I did waste a few days. So I was like very nervous on whether I will be able to clear prelims or not. So I was sure that if I get a chance to appear in mains, I will do very good. But prelims is one stage which is very scary for even candidates who have cleared it many times. So while when I saw my name, it was definitely a sense of relief. I shared it with my parents who were there at home at that time, and they were so happy. And I think they were more happier than me. So it was really nice. After that, a lot of people did come to my house. So it has been very tiring after that also because a lot of people are coming and sharing our happiness with us. So that it is a good experience as well as tiring as well. But I think overall a sense of relief is what is the most important that I'm feeling right now.
Yeah, I would say that sense of relief, that again, seeing the papers of the prelims, that you always get that, okay, I am not writing this exam.
Yes,
That
yes.
is there. But again, yeah, I think you come from Jammu city, and now in the last few years, many people are clearing from Jammu. And what was the reaction there? Because again, it is region specific, एक थोड़ा सा अलग reaction होता है. वहाँ पे क्या reaction था?
So, sir, like you mentioned that a lot of people are coming from Jammu, these JNK these years. But this time there are only 7 people who were selected
Hmm.
from our state. And I am the only girl. So
Oh,
this is one thing that people are
nice.
calling me like Jammu ki beti. So they are referring to me by that name. So I think a lot of people are looking up to me, especially the girls who come from different backgrounds. They are looking up to me as a motivation that if I can clear an exam like this, they can do as well. I remember there were a few students from my school who were trying to contact me and asking me how to give them tips to how to clear this exam. So I think it is a very proud moment also because very few people from JNK get to enter into the civil services and to get and to be the only girl from the state to do so. It feels really grateful.
So along with that happiness and all that, so that responsibility is on your shoulders. You need to realize that because, as you said, you are the girl, and like now, basically, I don't find this discrimination at all. But at some time, that some parameters थोड़ा सा होता है that कि अगर थोड़ा सा कर जाए women empowerment हो जाए तो और ज्यादा मतलब बहुत सारी जो girls होते हैं वो एरिया में definitely they get some encouragement, at the same time they get some confidence. Definitely we can also do it, and you should guide all the students from Jammu area, and definitely that responsibility lies on your shoulders.
Yes, sir. I'll have to do that, sir.
So, Shivani, I think you are also engineer, and you completed your engineering in 2018. So again, like this is a very typical question that they ask in interview. What was your motivation to join Silchar? Because like again, I always like to listen to genuine reasons. That can be, like there are so many different reasons people because of their join. So one should have clarity for that. So what was your reason for joining civil services?
Sir, my journey with services starts way back when I was in sixth standard. So that was the time that I was in convent school. So there was a lot of emphasis on kindness and helping people and giving to the larger public. So I always felt that I wanted to do something for the people. I did not really know how to do that. And that was the time when I came to know that one of my relatives is also an IS officer. So I got an idea that okay, this is something that through which I can fulfill my desire to serve the people. obviously I was not aware of the nitty-gritties of the
Exactly.
services and how to prepare that. But I remember when in sixth standard, once my teacher asked me that what do you want to become when you what do you want to become when you get older? So I mentioned that, and since then this dream has always remained constant. Even after my 12th standard, I knew I wanted to get into the civil services only. So, however, I would say that I was not much aware. Maybe I would have chosen humanities as a branch and then opted for the different civil services exam. But I took the course of engineering, and I think I would say that it was also a very good experience because I did my engineering from Delhi Technological University, which provided me a lot of exposure. The dream of getting into the services was always there, and it was the very obvious choice after my college got over. In fact, I had also got a placement offer when I was in fourth year, but I did not join it, and I told them to give it to someone else because I knew that I would not be able to do justice to the corporate sector because my heart lies somewhere else.
Right.
So this is the reason, sir, that why I wanted to get
Yeah,
into the civil services.
that is really nice to hear. And uh, definitely now you are in the IAS, and you know, last 1.5 year, 2 year हमारा जितना भी training हुआ है, definitely IAS provides you a very very good and very larger opportunity to serve all kinds of people, and definitely I hope in the future you will do that. So you mentioned that you completed your engineering in 2018, and after that I think you didn't appear for 2 years, and your first attempt was 2020, and the second attempt was 2021. So you took a gap. And why was that gap? Because many people just after completion of the exam, maybe they take 1 year gap and they appear for the exam. So why was that gap for 2 years?
Sir, there was a lag, sir. Can you please repeat the question?
So I was just saying, am I audible properly now?
Yes, sir.
So I was saying that you graduated in 2018 and you first appeared in 2020. So you also mentioned me once that there was some bad phase in your life and some situation you are going through. So what exactly in that, like when people are appearing for UPSC, they are under a lot of mental stress, be it from family, be it from personal aspiration, be it from friends, be it from teachers. So everybody expects something from you, and there's a lot of mental pressure goes on. So what exactly you are going through at that time?
Sir, after my 2018, after I completed my graduation, I was very clear that I wanted to pursue civil services. So I joined a few coachings in Delhi, in Old Rajendra Nagar. I would say that switch from college to the life of Old Rajendra Nagar was one of the biggest reasons for, making me anxious because the atmosphere there is very intense and very tiring, and I did not really have any friends there. So I just knew one girl, and I would say that both of us were facing the same issue,
Oh,
that we were not really comfortable there. Secondly, sir, I set up a target for myself that I had to clear the exam in first attempt itself. So that added an extra amount of pressure. So whenever I used to sit down and start studying, the pressure that I have to clear it in this attempt only would overpower me so much that I would not able to read even a single page. So slowly and steadily, this deteriorated to such an extent that I used to call my parents and say, I don't want to live here in ORN. So I used to go back home and then I used to come back again because I had joined the coaching as well. So this to and fro movement kept on happening for almost, I would say that in almost 10 days, I was going back to Jammu and then coming back to ORN. And this kept on for 4 or 5 months, good 4 or 5 months. So after a point, I stopped attending my coaching. I could not attend there because I would get nervous because the classes are so huge and there are a lot of people. So I would always feel a sense of inferiority as well, that I won't be able to do clear this exam, and the issue of clearing it in first attempt was so overpowering me. And finally, my father said that okay, you should come back home, prepare from home itself. So I did come back to Jammu in 2019, and even after that, I would say that I was not able to study anything. For a good 1.5 years, I did not study anything at all. And I have always been a very, very good student in school. So this thing was also irritating me, that why am I not able to read even a single page? And I have been reading novels as well since I was a child. And even reading that was also becoming very difficult. So I think a lot of it had to do with the pressure that I created on myself, and the atmosphere also, that I was probably not able to survive in a very intense environment. And these two three things happened simultaneously. So because of it, there was a phase when I was like, okay, I might not be able to study anything at all, take any other job that I can. So and I'll do it. And I had given up. I thought that अब तो नहीं होने वाला है, मतलब पढ़ाई तो नहीं होगी, तो अब all this while that I was thinking that I will clear the exam, तो वो तो अब होने से रहा. So then I would say that I was lucky. My parents were very supportive. I did take professional help from good doctors, and that really helped me. The phase was very difficult, but I remember that once I was told that when you are at the lowest point of your life, there is nowhere else to go but upwards.
Right.
So I remember that one day I said to myself, okay, I will just read one page of polity. I remember I opened the polity NCRT, 11th class. So I said, okay, I'll read just one page, even if it takes 1 hour, I will do that. And somehow that day I was able to read it. After, I remember, 1.5 years that happened. So gradually and slowly, the momentum did come back. A lot of it has to do with the professional help that I got and the support of my parents and friends who, and mental, talking about mental health and going through a phase like this, it is stigma, it is considered a stigma. So people are generally feel ashamed of sharing
Right.
it. Even I used to feel that maybe something is wrong with me and I'm not normal. But now that when I see look back, there was a phase when I could not read anything. मुझे लगता था कि अब तो कुछ नहीं होगा. But now where I am here right now, my parents are so proud of me, my friends are so proud of me, and I think I am proud of myself to overcome that phase and becoming a stronger version of myself. Right now I feel so empowered in a sense that I can take control of my emotions and I can understand them so well. So I would say that going through a phase, although that was really bad, but it was a blessing in disguise, that it has made me emotionally strong. And I would say that a lot of people do face that and they think that maybe they are alone. But as much as I have interacted with other people, and based on my story, no one is really alone. We all go through some similar situation, something or the other. And there will be a time when we will be able to overcome it. Maybe not soon, but someday we will come and we will come out stronger than what we were a few years ago.
That is like, is really like, I needed to something here, that you said you reach a point so down that after that you just go upwards.
Yes, sir.
So that is really nice, like we hear so motivational stories and all that. Because see, I wanted to ask you something about UPSC. Now I have changed my mind and my because I am thinking back of my mind. Because when I was appearing for my second attempt, see, I in the first attempt I had no pressure on my mind. In first attempt I secured this rank, and I in my second attempt there was a pressure. Now I am a rank holder, so I should be in top 20, top 30, top 40, top 50. This is the pressure you is there on you. And like you, like most of people who are appearing for this exam, they must have done very good in school, right? They must have done very good in school. And जब आप स्कूल में अच्छे करते हो, then there is a very very high pressure from your family and from yourself. Let's
Yes, sir.
leave the family outside, okay? अभी कभी तो फैमिली बहुत ज्यादा सपोर्टिव होती है, फैमिली बोलती है कि नो यू शुड नॉट टेक दिस मच ऑफ टेंशन. बट हमारा खुद का इतना होता है कि यार मैंने तो इतने ज्यादा परसेंटेज लाए थे, नाउ आई शुड बी एबल टू स्कोर दिस मच, राइट? But you raised very very valid points. I'm very very happy that we are having this conversation, uh, because as you said, very few people talk about this. So as you said, you took professional help. That is nice. But you on yourself, when like three issues you mentioned, one is the change of the atmosphere. College life is really changed. did
Yes,
you
sir.
did you again, it was very good. So from that, where you have a fun life, you directly come to Warren. You land up in Warren, where I always consider Warren as the most depressed place. I never used to stay in Warren. I used to say, again, I cannot say Patel Nagar was not depressed. Definitely, that is also there. But I wanted to stay away from Warren because I used to consider that Warren is most depressed place. So change of atmosphere is one. Second, you mentioned that a pressure on yourself. Pressure on yourself. Third, that the surrounding, the people who are there. Now there's so lot of competition is there. For a person like me, like, or there are so many people who come from varied backgrounds, humanities background, agriculture background. I talk to so many aspirants now. Now it has been 4 years that I'm in touch with aspirants. They come from different backgrounds, and maybe they are little bit weak in English. Maybe they are little bit weak in communication. Maybe they are little weak in reading, all those things. Now that sets in inferiority complex. So these three issues you mentioned. So I'm really happy. So on a personal level, how did you, like, though you were taking professional help, on a personal level, how did you overcome this? And second question would be, how was your family supportive in this?
Sir, personally, I think the first step was to remove the pressure that I was having, that I had created on myself. So the of clearing the exam in first attempt. So I was like, ठीक है नहीं होगा first में, second में हो जाएगा. तो ये the when I thought like this, so I was the pressure was removed.
Right.
Secondly, we usually make huge targets for ourselves, especially when we start, and obviously we might fail to fulfill them. And फिर इससे क्या होगा कि और pressure will start building up. So
Yeah.
I gave myself time, and I think that was very, very important to understand what my mind needs at that point. So even right now, I think I don't really face FOMO. There, I see a lot of people reading so many materials. So I say to myself कि जितना मैंने किया है, whatever I am reading is sufficient. And rather than thinking of what other people are doing and getting anxious about that, कि okay, maybe I'm doing something less. I would say that we should have a little more faith in ourselves, and that is also what I did with myself. Giving time and having faith in myself was very, very important. These two things that I think really help. Had I not taken the break that I was in fact I was advised by my doctors that I should take a break, because I otherwise I would have messed up my head even bad. So had I not taken the break, I think I would not have been able to get the mental clarity that why am I feeling in a certain way. It was only after a few months that I realized that okay, these are the reasons why I'm feeling anxious. These are the reasons why I'm not able to study. So giving time to myself was really very important. And thirdly, sir, like I mentioned that my parents were very, very supportive. So that is one thing that I would say I'm really blessed, because they also gave me time. There was no pressure on me that okay, usually we see that लड़कियों को बोलते हैं कि थोड़ा सा पढ़ाओ, then they try to marry off their girls. तो
Yes.
ऐसा प्रेशर मेरे घर में नहीं था. There was always this atmosphere that कि आपको जो जैसा अच्छा लगता है वैसा करो. There is no pressure कि okay, आपको कमाना ही है अभी, you need to start earning early or you need to settle down. That pressure was not there. So my parents were also very patient with me, my siblings and my friends. They were also very patient with me, and this is something that I would say really helped me. And the love that they give you when you know you are going through a rough phase, they try to understand. Obviously, initially they will feel that कि पता नहीं क्या हो रहा है, what is
Exactly.
wrong with our child.
Exactly.
So, but ये phase मुझे लगता है कि मेरे parents को they did understand it fairly well that okay, she is going through a rough phase. Let us give her the time and space she needs, and that was very, very important for me, and I think that played a huge role.
Nice, nice, nice. That is like, again, like, lot of in your preparation, a lot of credit goes to your family, because
Yes, sir.
they are also sacrificing a lot, because they
Yes,
are
sir.
also always worried. Like when I was in Delhi, my mother used to be always worried, and she used to watch news of Delhi. She used to watch news of Delhi, and whatever happens in Delhi, she used to call me. Okay, this is happening in Delhi. So now I am in Calcutta. So now she is like, okay, Calcutta, this is happening in Calcutta. So that is there. Your parents, your siblings, they are always there with you, and obviously there are your friends also. So definitely, I'm very happy that we had this discussion. And I would say that those all the people who are listening, yes, we have got a person here. Now she was under a lot of stress. She was under a lot of anxiety. But definitely, with time, you will overcome that. You just need to believe in yourself. Like at times, you need to take help from people. Now, you need not consider this is something of social stigma or something like that, or people will judge you, something like that. It is for you who are doing it. So definitely one should seek for help. So now coming back to our preparation time. Now, one interesting thing I would like to share with all of you. So 1 year ago, we have had one discussion where she texted me. I always, when I talk to people, I say like, she introduced herself. Sir, my name is this. I come from here. I completed graduation from here. And sir, my hobby is trekking. My hobby is trekking, and sir, one trek I would like to do is Himalayan trek when I am in Labasna. So when I will reach Labasna, and we are having this conversation before 2021 prelims. So at that time, prelims got postponed because of the COVID. And sir, that will be Sone Pe Suhaga. That was the exact word of her. And when I read that after her result, that was, that was a very, 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 like, a very happy moment. And the moment where one can think that whatever you doing, and if you are willing to work hard, and now we know the background, right? You know the background, that the hard time you had, but after that, when you gained the confidence and the 1 year you worked, that was really, really, I really, like, I showed this to 4 or 5 people. Okay. I showed this to 4 or 5 people, those people who used to teach. I shared with all of them that we had got these
Hmm.
students, and she was like, she texted with this, and now she is going to Ulvasna. So definitely. So how was that 1 year journey? Like, I think Decode ke saath, you guys completed anthropology, and I think essay also you completed. How was that journey? Was helpful because you were at that time you were not attending any class, and जितना मुझे पता है that time we were little like I was also there. I mean, I had holidays, so I was a little bit consistent. So how was your journey? How did you follow that 1 year journey?
Sir, like you mentioned that prelims was postponed, so I would say that it was a blessing in disguise because
Yes.
April 2021 was a really bad time for the entire country. So in fact, I was also not able to study because the environment in the whole country was very stressful. So the postponement of prelims was very a blessing in disguise for me. And like I mentioned that I could not really attend coaching when I had even joined. So most of the notes that I had made were from self-study. But I did know that there were a lot of loopholes in them and many things were missing. So when I saw that you were starting a course, so I thought that, okay, now prelims is also postponed. So maybe I should join the class and fill the gaps that I had. And I would say that it was a very, very good decision because there were in fact a lot of gaps in my notes. I used to consider them that they are complete, बस यही पढ़ना है जो है. But a lot of new things that I was able to understand. In fact, there were a few concepts also that I was understanding in a wrong way. So in this way, Decode really helped me. In fact, I attended all the classes which Divya ma'am used to say take and Shashikant sir used to take. And that was really helpful, especially for making me understand and making me fall in love with the subject. I think a lot of people these days take anthropology just because it is scoring.
Scoring,
But
exactly.
but if you're not able to appreciate the subject and develop interest in it, it will not really help you at all. So I think that really helped me, in completing my notes and it helped in finding out the structures of the answer. I remember that you introduced us with Prudvi sir, who really he was really helpful and he helped me in forming structures for the answers in
Right.
GS as well as anthropology. And I, since it was my first means, I had not really, I was not really confident about my content, but I was very sure that my presentation is good. I know how to structure the answers. Even you showed us your copies, which the structuring of the answers were very nice. So I did follow that, and I think that was really very helpful. And even now, when I people talk to me that how did you score nice marks in GS and optional paper, I say that structuring really helped me, and it would not have been possible had I not joined Decode, because Decode, so it helped me in two ways. First, in completing my optional, that the syllabus, it helped in completion of syllabus as well as how to attempt the paper. These two things really helped me a lot. And I mentioned that uh, so like I said that I had also joined the essay program. So when people are generally clueless about how to begin essay, so when I joined the program, I understood, okay, this is the basic format. This is how essays are supposed to be attempted. So, and I also practiced a few tests, wrote a few essays, and that really helped me it made me confident even before prelims that, okay, after I clear prelims, I will not have to devote or worry so much about the optional and the essay paper. I'll just have to revise and then appear in the exam and do my
Yeah.
work in the paper.
Yeah, like I because one thing I really like that you need to fall in love with that subject, because you go extra mile when you love that subject, because to score you will do whatever it needs to, like you want to get a good marks, but the paper they are setting now, that you have to be in much more deep understanding. Now when you are in the love with that subject, you go, you do one extra mile and you follow all those things. And like I still remember they used to take your class at 6 a.m. in the morning.
Yes, sir.
And that was, I really like that many people used to attend it also, because that showed the dedication. And they were really, really consistent
Yes, sir.
covering through, like they were consistent that, okay, we have mentioned that we'll cover it in 100 days, we'll cover it in 100 days, along with making notes, writing answers, each and everything. I'm really happy that it helped you. But along with that, studying from home, how did you motivate yourself to prepare, like profile yourself every single day? So that, because it was a long time, no, like starting from me, I'm talking about that time, May 2021 to your exam was in October something, 10th of
Yes, sir.
October, your prelims
Yes,
was
sir.
there. After that, now interview was there this time. So how did you, like this one and a half year, like 1 year, how did you motivate yourself to study every single day?
Sir, like I mentioned, that having notes beforehand is very, very important. And what people make mistakes is that they do make notes, but they don't really revise it. So I was like, I have to do a lot of revisions. So keeping resources minimum, but revising it to in a lot of a number of times. So this is what was very helpful for me, in especially in clearing prelims. And I would say that my revision process was very fun. So I had prepared questions for myself and I used to answer them. And if I did not know any question, I used to mark it in red. And after a few days, I would revisit it and then maybe mark it green, that, okay, now I know it. So making the revision process fun was itself motivating enough to, open the books and study. I remember for 5 months from prelims till I gave the mains. For 5 months, I have studied for 8 hours on an average daily, and these are the effective number of hours I have put. And I would say the motivating factor was behind this was that I was loving what I was doing. I was enjoying. It was not a burden. And the UPSC had given me a chance to appear for mains, and so many people do not get a chance to do that. So I think that was itself. It was fun and it was challenging, but it was interesting also, doing something really new and maybe out of your comfort zone. But enjoying the process was also motivating. Thirdly, sir, I had seen that, okay, I had already analyzed my strengths and weaknesses. So being aware about that it also helps you in overcoming the stress that you face when you are studying. And this is also where, understanding yourself and your emotions really helps. And thirdly, sir, I knew that, okay, पढ़ाई ही है जो मुझे आती है करने. I am not really good in other things. Engineering तो की थी, but I don't really remember what I did. So I knew that this is only what I have to do. And
Right.
since it was my childhood dream and I had got a chance, so I knew that I had to give my 100%. And I would not give up after till the time I give up my 100%. I just had to study, sit on my table. I removed all the distractions that I had. I told my friends that, okay, I have prelims after 40 days, so please don't text me or call me. And they were very supportive. And same, I would say, was happened between prelims and mains. And parents ka support bhi, sir, is equally motivating when you feel low. And I think I would say that I also face anticipation anxiety, कि ऐसा लगता है कि prelims के पेपर में सारे क्वेश्चन ऐसे होंगे जो मैंने कभी नहीं देखे होंगे, तो I would get blank, ऐसा मुझे लगता है. But when I was attempting the paper, I had a confidence in me कि okay, ये तो आता है, मुझे कर लूंगी मैं. So being your own cheerleader is also very, very
Right.
important. There will be people to pull you down, there will be people who will motivate you, but if you cannot motivate yourself, if you cannot back yourself कि okay, इतना मैंने पढ़ा है अगर consistently, obviously मुझे कुछ ना कुछ तो आता ही होगा, I will not get blank. Having a little faith in yourself and motivating yourself is what is really important and what will really help me.
Nice, nice, nice. That is also very good. You need to cheer yourself up. Is
Yes.
there? So moving to the end, like who was your, like how was your interview? Who was your chairman? And how was, because first interviews is also always interesting, because you always have that nervousness when you go to the UPSC. You think that, okay, now this is the dream come true, and you are in the last phase now in the marathon which you covered, and now you are in the last sprint phase where you have to run that 100-meter to finish the journey. So how was your interview experience?
Sir, my board was Chaube sir's board, and the my interview was on 6th May, so I had a decent amount of time to prepare for that. But I was very clueless how to prepare for interview, because कोई बताता नहीं है कि कैसे करते हैं interview के लिए prepare. सो आई थिंक मेरे को स्टार्ट करने में ही काफी ज्यादा टाइम लगे कि हाउ टू प्रिपेयर, एंड ऑब्वियसली आई वाज वेरी नर्वस. माय मॉक्स वर गोइंग गुड, बट द लास्ट मॉक दैट आई गेव, द सेकंड लास्ट मॉक दैट आई गेव, it was really very pathetic. So I remember I coming out of the room crying and calling my friend that okay अब तो नहीं होने वाला. It happened in the mock. So but like I mentioned that I faced the anticipation anxiety even before appearing in the for the particular exam. पहले से ही मैं सोच लेती हूँ कि यार ये हो जाएगा वो हो जाएगा, I'll get blank, I will start crying in the interview. I used to think this, but somehow on the day of the interview I was very confident. I remember one of my friend had texted me that you are there for a reason, only 1800 people have been selected, so behave like that. So have a little faith in yourself. And I constantly kept telling myself this, that I am here because I have done something, I have worked hard, and so I just need to be confident for the next 30-35 minutes. So I think that really helped. Motivating myself, like I mentioned, was very very important. Although मेरे को बहुत एंजाइटी होती थी पहले, but I have always made sure that while I am attempting the paper, while I am appearing for the interview, I will be calm, and I think I did fairly good in the interview. Although the marks this time, the interviews, people have scored really not so good marks in interview, but uske hisab se I think my marks were fairly good and I was satisfied. I don't think I could have done better.
So what like any interesting questions they asked you?
Sir,
Coming from Jammu, they
interesting.
must have asked you something about 370 or something related to Jammu. What was the impact or something like that?
Sir, I they did not really ask that. I think they knew that she must have prepared. So I was
Maybe.
really shocked that they did not ask.
Hmm.
And the one question that I really liked was they asked where, since I had mentioned in my DAF that I like traveling and trekking. So they asked me that where have you been last, and they asked her to the answer, and I was able to answer it nicely. And since it was an area that was really exciting to me, so I think that was those were a few questions.
What did you answer?
Sir, I had gone to Manali. I had visited Atal Tunnel. So they did
Okay.
ask me questions related to that. So I answered them fairly well, sir. And I think appearing for the interview, Chobe sir is very, very kind when he's taking the interview. He made sure that, कि बच्चा comfortable हो. There was one incident that a ma'am asked me कि what is the fiscal policy, about something about fiscal policy. So while I was answering, there and that time news में inflation बहुत चल रहा था. So I confused fiscal policies limit with inflation. I mentioned that fiscal policy का rate 4% होना चाहिए plus minus two.
Oh.
And while I said that, is Chauvin sir started laughing, and then I realized okay, I had said something stupid. So even I started laughing, and then I did correct myself. But I think that was a funny moment. I don't think they would have taken it in a negative sense, because I could have got nervous after that, but I wasn't, because the atmosphere in the room is very very cordial. So they make sure that the candidate is comfortable. So this is one point where all five of us, the board members and me, we did laugh, and I, although I did correct my answer after that. So this was one interesting experience that I had.
Nice, nice, nice. It is very good to hear, no? Again, I would like to say many congratulations to you. And we discuss multiple points, and I don't, again, like we'll keep discussing, but let me tell you that definitely there lies one responsibility on your shoulders. Maybe we'll do one differentiation for that. So keep guiding people, because there are so many people who are appearing for 4 times, 5 times, 6 times, I don't know. So and they are under a lot of pressure. Okay. So definitely, I'm very very happy that you brought out that point. So again, very congratulations to you and your family, your friends who put in that synergic efforts to clear this exam. And I'm really happy that we were in some part, we were a part of your journey. So again, all the best to you, and all the best to you for like you join Labasna. I think somewhere at the end of August or maybe in the September,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
and that's the dream come true for you. So all the
Yes, sir.
best to you, Shivani,
Yes,
and
sir.
see you soon on the other side.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much, sir. It was really nice talking to you and being able to express. I always wanted to share what I had gone through, because I think uh, it is very important to talk about it, and people should not feel that they are alone in this journey. Things will happen. They might take some time, but if we work honestly, if our hard work is honest, so we will get our result. And thank you for giving me this platform where I can, share my experiences.
Definitely, definitely. Okay then. Okay, thank you, Shivani. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.